ho! From merry Millheim, directly under the mistletoe that hangs over the pine green center of the Keystone State, this is Lou, right jolly old elf Bryson, serving up a cup of cheer in the form of this festive episode of Seen Through a Glass, the podcast that's mostly about food and drink in central Pennsylvania. Welcome to episode 70, the 4 C's, Christmas, charity, cookies, and Cathy. Wow, episode 70. And they said I'd never even make it to 25. Who said that? Well, whoever they were wrong, even if I did make them up. Now, this is, as you probably know, because you're a regular listener, of course, our second holiday episode this year because of the way the calendar inconsiderately dropped the big holidays on podcast drop days. And since it is the second holiday episode, we're doing things a little differently, a little special. This one is about that Christmas spirit, the generosity that is at the heart of this season. I have an interview with the folks at the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank who are helping feed Pennsylvanians who are having a rough time across the whole center of the state. And there are more people in that position than you'd think. I wasn't sure what we'd get from this interview, but it was great. Shila Ulrich is someone who sees a need and tries to step up to meet it and can show us all how that can help us all. You see, the whole rest of the year, Seen Through a Glass, is about finding the best things to eat and drink. Today, I want to talk about how we can help families, adults, kids, seniors, infants, who are having a hard time finding enough to eat. Not just for one nice holiday meal, but on into the new year. I've also got an interview with someone that you've been asking to return since our very first episode 3 years ago, my wife, Cathy Bryson. It's Christmas cookie time, and Cathy takes to the ovens to churn out a wonderful array of little biscuits, caramel, chocolate, oatmeal, orange, coffee, molasses, spices, and lots of butter all over the counters. The house smells great, and everyone's happy because there are enough to sample and still stuff the freezer for the celebratory weeks to come. What else? Well, drinks, of course. It wouldn't be a holiday episode without several What I'm Drinking Today interludes. And speaking of today, the Mifflinburg Christkindl Market starts today, December 11th. The wonderful German-style craft food, drink, music festival takes over 4 blocks around Market Street tonight, Friday, and Saturday. Woohoo! And I'm not going to talk about it again, don't worry, I'm just excited. I'm also excited about our annual Christmas caroling party this weekend, and I'll tell you about how that started and how it's progressed and how we do it. We got to have a book bit, so I'll tell you about one more book event before year's end, and remind you how easy it is to get your own signed copies of American Whiskey Masterclass at the new website, which is a great way to get these new show notes, too, including a bunch of Cathy's cookie recipes. So let's get started with the first iteration of What I'm Drinking Today. I guess we'll see if I can still pronounce iteration by WIDT number 4. What I'm drinking today is St. Bernardus Christmas Ale, a classic big bad Belgian. The brewery bills it as a dark quadruple, and it weighs in at 10%. Let's have a taste, because why not start huge, right? Dark but not black. It's a really deep garnet brown. Actually more brown than garnet. There's a hint of red there, but there's actually more red in the in this kind of tan tawny foam. Wow. Oh, wow. I purposely poured this low in the glass so I could get plenty of nose, and it's absolutely delicious. Wow. There's definitely malt, but there's some light anise notes and kind of like dried fruit, but soaked in beer. Good beer. Oh my. Dark fruits like a plum and a cherry and I got to try this. Oh boy. Man, this is what I miss with Belgian beers. I should be drinking more of them. There's a fullness in the mouth that isn't sticky. I hate a beer that really clings and sticks, and this Does not. It's got beautiful little pinpoint carbonation that keep things brisk and clean on the tongue. The malt is not heavy. This is actually a pretty well attenuated beer, especially at 10%. And it's lively. It's not heavy at all. You would expect a 10% quadruple to be thick and syrupy, and it is absolutely not. Oh boy, there's a lot of malt there. And that anise really helps clean things up. This is delicious, and I would like to spend more time with it, but I'm going to have to put that aside and save it for Cathy because we've got 3 more drinks to get through and 2 interviews. Oh, you still only get 1 smack dab in the center. Sponsored by the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau. Well, Christmas is coming soon, and can you guess what my favorite Christmas gift is? No, it's not beer. It's books. Scratch any author, and you'll find a reader. I have a to-be-read pile of new books, used books, comic books, graphic novels, poetry, history, and some old books I finally managed to track down and add to my collection. But I always want more. And with Christmas coming up, I've got suggestions for places to go for books in Center County. Now, I did say comic books, and I meant it. I love comics, and Comic Cove and State College has them. New ones, old ones, and lots of Pokemon and Magic the Gathering cards, too. And you can sell them part of your collection and then buy more. Do you want more used books? Head to Faith Center in Bellefonte, where they have a lot of used books, along with clothing, jewelry, and home goods. Pick out your new to-be-read pile and feel good knowing that the money is going to support the Faith Center Food Bank. Now, if you just want a straight-up bookstore, the kind where you can get lost in the magic of the words and that comfortable smell of new pages and bindings, you want Webster's Bookstore and Cafe in State College. You'll find new books and old books, used vinyl, and yes, fair trade coffee and locally sourced food. That kind of sounds like my house. Get more information at the happyvalley.com website. Click on the shop button, then click through on the books and bookstores link. You'll be lost in a book in no time. Now, in that spirit of gifting and receiving, let's move directly to our interview. People in Pennsylvania suffer from hunger all year round. Call it food insecurity or undernutrition or whatever euphemistic bureaucratic term you want. People go to bed hungry. There are a variety of government programs to help them, but because those programs are stretched to their limits right now, partly because of cuts, partly because of the months-long delay in approving a state budget, that's where organizations like the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank can assist. The food bank is like a wholesaler that makes big deals with grocery stores, restaurants, and food suppliers to take donations or make large cut-rate purchases or take food that is coming close to the best-by date. Then they get that food to the local organizations who give it out to the people who need it. People who need it. Who needs it? How do they know who actually needs this food? Well, in my humble opinion, people worry about this too much. As Shila Ulrich will tell you, deciding who qualifies, who really needs food, that's not their job. Anyone who comes in the door and asks for food gets food. And she's right. Having to come in and ask for food because you can't afford enough for your family is humiliating enough without having to answer a lot of questions or fill out forms. If you don't need food, you won't do this more than once. I can relate. When I was in grad school, I had very little money. My mother would literally mail me packets of dried beef and Cope's dried corn, and I'd make soup with bouillon cubes, a head of cabbage, and some onions. After a few tips from a helpful older woman at a grocery store in Pittsburgh, I was shopping at the day-old bread stand and the last day in the bin section of the meat counter and the reduced price section of produce. Actually, what I mostly did for vegetables was wait till Thursday when a local Wendy's had a fixed price sale on their salad bar. I'd load up on everything but lettuce and sneak the excess into my coat pockets to take home. I'm not proud of that, but I did it. I'm pretty sure they knew I was doing it too, and they said nothing. I absolutely get having to go to a food pantry, and that's why we donate. Listen to this interview and think about where we can all help. As Shila says, there are different ways for different people. Cash is best because it's versatile. They can use it for anything but time, and your time is equally valuable. Volunteering is huge for the food bank, whether it's handing out food or packing boxes or stocking shelves and unloading trucks. It all gets food to people. Maybe people you know, maybe infants, maybe someone's grandfather, people who need it. Here's that interview. Hey, this morning we are talking to Shila Ulrich. She is the CEO of the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank. Good morning.
Good morning, Lou. Thanks so much for having me today.
Absolutely. I'm really glad we could make this work. I wanted to start with just some really basic stuff. Where is the food bank headquartered? What counties do you cover?
Yeah, great question. So Central Pennsylvania Food Bank covers 27 counties within the mid-state of Central Pennsylvania, as our name reflects. So we are in the counties that are the top of the New York border to the bottom of the Maryland border, and then as far west as Clearfield County and as far east as Lancaster County. So we have quite a big swath of territory that we cover. We are located, our main location is in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We also have two satellite distribution centers as well, one in Williamsport and then one in Hollidaysburg near Altoona and Blair County. Yeah.
Yeah. And just ballpark figure, how many people do you help a year?
So we help in the neighborhood of 268,000 individuals every month. So I guess if we extrapolate that out, it's a lot of people.
It is a lot of people. Wow. Yeah, that's a big job. How long has the food bank been in existence? And I guess who founded it?
Yeah, so the food bank started here in 1982. It was kind of out of a national movement that had started in Arizona where food banking got started. There was a realization in the late 70s that there was a lot of food waste happening within our communities, and linking people to services and to food was a priority of this particular individual who started food banking. And so it became kind of a national movement. So we were part of some of that, those early days of food banking. So we've been here since 1982.
Wow. That's interesting. I didn't realize it grew out of an awareness of food waste. Food waste is a really overlooked issue.
The huge problem, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen something like 40%, as high as that. Is that a real figure?
I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I don't know where that number comes from, but I do know that we have some incredible partnerships within the mid-state here with local grocers. And I know that grocers are really starting to look at what their waste looks like from the grocer side. So when we talk about food waste, I don't know if that number, it's a really great question. I don't know if that number attributes or actually also takes into account like home food waste, right? So if we don't eat something, does it get thrown away? But I know from the grocer and the producer manufacturer side, people have a much keener eye on figuring out ways to get creative to make sure that food is not going to the landfills, but rather getting into the bellies of people who need it. So it's really great to be able to be that link.
Yeah. So how does it work? Where does the food come from? Where do you store it? How do you distribute it? I mean, you got to move a lot of it around, too.
We do. So last year, in our fiscal year 2025, we distributed 75 million pounds of food. I can't really quantify that in a way that makes sense. It's just a lot of food, right?
It's a lot of food.
So we here at Central PA Food Bank within our hubs, we bring in food. We're just like a warehouse, right? It's set up exactly the same. We have pickers who come in and they pick orders that go out to our food distributors like our pantries and soup kitchens and other providers doing the boots on the ground work. 50 million pounds of that 75 million pounds came through our doors. The other 25 million pounds is actually what we call agency-enabled food pickups from our agency partners who go out to places like Giant and Wise and Target, Sheetz, Rudders, all kinds of places within our service territory and pick up rescue food essentially. So 1/3 of the food that was distributed in our network last year from Central Pennsylvania Food Bank actually came from those agency-enabled pickups, which is really cool. So to the point of waste, we're able to rescue some of that and get it back into the hands of people who need it most.
I mean, and this is stuff that is otherwise it's gone to the garbage dump. Is that?
That's correct. Yeah, things that
That's
are,
really sad. Yeah.
yeah, maybe not appealing for a grocery store shelf, but still has life. One of the great programs that we have that started in 2010 here at Central Pennsylvania Food Bank is called Meet the Needs, MEAT, Meet the Needs, because our former CEO, Joe Arthur, and Giant worked together to do a prototype of a program to take meats that were about to be thrown away. So meats that were at their sell by date. And instead of disposing of them, they began to freeze them. And then freezing them allowed a little more shelf life, right? So then we were able to take those in as donations and get those back out into the charitable food network. So that became actually a prototype that nationally is used and recognized, which is really great.
Well, that is great. So that's where the food is coming from. Well, actually, I wanted to ask, what kind of food is it mostly? Because I mean, when you do a local food drive, it's almost always packaged stuff, canned stuff, dried stuff. What kind of food are you? I mean, what runs through your warehouse?
Yeah, I'm so proud of the fact that over the last, probably decade within food banking and within communities, there's been a really great awareness that these are our friends and neighbors who are going to seek services within food pantries, right? These are people you're worshiping with, people you're working with, children your children are going to school with. We want to make sure that they're getting good foods. So here at Central Pennsylvania Food Bank, we make a really big priority to make sure we're getting good center of the plate stuff. So that includes milk and eggs, produce. That's huge categories for us, proteins as well. So about 50% of the items that we have in-house here at Central Pennsylvania Food Bank are either frozen or fresh. So we're really proud of that because it's really important. Food is medicine. It's we hear that all the time, right? What we put in our bodies makes a difference. And so we're really leaning into that hard.
Yeah. I was going down the rabbit hole on the internet as one does. And, you see the and a lot of the complaints seem to be, well, they're giving them food, but it's nasty food. And, it maybe used to be, but it sounds like you're able to get, I don't know, a lot more healthy food now.
Yeah, being a pantry operator for a better part of 2 decades before coming here to Central Pennsylvania Food Bank.
Yeah, you've been in this a while, right?
I have been, yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at your resume. I was like, you've been at this.
Yeah, I'm definitely not old enough to have been in a career for this long. So,
of course.
Yeah. But, I think it really depends on the pantry operators. I think it really depends on so many factors, right? Sometimes it's the best we've got is, being able to take 3 clamshells of strawberries and picking out the bad ones and putting the good ones back together and creating one good clamshell of strawberries. It's getting creative. I think there is a little bit of misnomer about what's offered, what's available. And, frankly, this time of year is a tough time to have fresh produce, right? You're not getting, good fruits and vegetables, specifically fruits, because, root vegetables are really plentiful. But being able to get some things like, berries and that sort of thing, they're expensive for pantries to be able to handle, buying from the marketplace. So it's kind of like, well, you get what you can get in these moments, but that doesn't mean that it's spoiled or bad food. In fact, we get our milk here at Central PA Food Bank direct from distributors. So, it's really good dates. We get Pete and Jerry's eggs, which are really great quality eggs, cage-free, free-range eggs.
Wow, nice.
So, we really, really try hard to make sure that what we're putting out into the network is good whole foods. And, I think that there have been times when we failed as food banks, but, we're really trying hard to make sure that if we're not going to eat it, we're not going to send it out our doors.
Good rule of thumb. I guess who's eligible? Who gets this stuff?
Yeah, so anyone who walks into a food pantry or a food distribution, into a soup kitchen who says they have a food need should be believed. That's
Hmm.
what we believe. That's what the Department of Agriculture believes here in Pennsylvania as well. So we do have a couple of different ways that individuals can kind of quote qualify, but what I would say, and what I have said, and sort of what became the way that I told the story when I was at the pantry level is, people would ask all the time, like, how do you know people qualify for services?
Mm.
And I would just simply say, do you have kids? Because I have kids. I have two boys. They're 13 and 9, and they eat like adults. I get that.
Yes.
But I don't know, even being in this work, I don't know what it would take for me to walk into a room full of strangers and tell
Yes.
them I can't feed my kids tonight. And so, we honor that act of bravery in a way that, just give them food. And if it's someone who doesn't need it, or maybe they don't see value in it, they're not going to come back. It's time, right? People in poverty pay with their time. It's time that they have to spend to be able to go in the hopes that they can find the thing that they needed today. So, when people say that they need help with food, my hope is that we believe them.
Yes. Yes. So turn that around. What's the best way that we can help you do that?
Yeah, so here at Central Pennsylvania Food Bank, we're able to take $1 and turn it into 4 meals because we can use economy of scale
Mm.
to get things at really great prices and to be able to make sure that we're getting the best value for that dollar that we're spending. So for us here, cash is king. Being able to donate, to volunteer, to get the word out, simple things like sharing a Facebook post or telling your friends about what you learned on a social media post about food insecurity within our Commonwealth. In fact, 15% of individuals within our service territory, 15% of the entire population has accessed the Charitable Food Network.
Mm.
So it's a bigger problem than people think about. But
Yes.
also every community within our 27 counties has local resources that you can find on our website, centralpafoodbank.org. We have a find help feature. That feature can show you where there are local food pantries and donating to them directly, donating time, talent, and treasure, right?
Mm.
Giving them your volunteerism. Maybe you have a special skill set that you could offer. And then also donating in kind with food or with cash as well. Those food resources are doing a really great job of getting that food directly to the families who need it most.
And I wanted to emphasize, I mean, we're doing a holiday show, and of course that's, people always think, oh, we got to get them a good meal. It's year round. We
It
need to
really
keep
is.
doing this all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, we think about it, right? There's a little bit of benevolence that cranks
Sure.
up during the holidays, which is really great. But summer is a really challenging time for families as well as kids are out of school
Oh,
and
yeah.
not getting summer meals. So we kind of have our eye on it all the time. But yeah, certainly this time and all year long, there are needs.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you do anything besides food, hygiene items, any of that kind of thing?
We don't necessarily do that as a constant here.
Hmm.
If we get donations and we certainly put those back out into our network. So sometimes we'll get paper goods like toilet paper or diapers or that sort of thing as a donation from a retailer. But that's not something that we focus on. Unfortunately, food is such a big problem that we feel
Right.
very strongly to stick with food. I'd love to get to a point where we could maybe expand that into other offerings, but certainly, in this moment, it's just a little bit challenging. So.
Wow. We touched briefly on your resume. How do you wind up in a place like this? I mean, how do you choose this career? What draws you to it? Because I know I think I mentioned to you when we were talking in email. I mean, I've had friends who've worked in hospice. I've had friends that worked in neonatal care units, and they describe it as harrowing but wonderful.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good summation. So I have always been drawn to public service in some capacity. I have a master's degree in social work, and actually, while I was working on my master's degree, coming home from work one day, I saw a sign for a pantry that was open in Palmyra, where I live, and my husband and I started volunteering there. Once a week, we would go and stock shelves, and I just really, really was motivated by the work that was happening there. So I was a volunteer there for a number of years while I was working full time, and then took an entire leap of faith and jumped off the precipice, took a giant pay cut, and started working part time at the pantry, which eventually led to full time work there and being named the executive director, which I was there at 9 years as the executive director. And I don't know. I think really for me, it's a vocation. This is a calling. I
It does
don't.
seem that way.
Yeah, thank you. I don't
Yeah,
know how
yeah,
I kind of just stumbled into it. I just feel really passionate about it. Everyone eats, right? It just seems so
yeah.
simple to me that, we all, and that was something that I counsel people all the time when they would come into the food pantry where I left is, I'm so sorry I'm here today. And I'm like, look, I'm one car accident, one major health crisis, right? One major issue from being on the other side of this table, feeling the
Yeah.
same way, right? And there are so many people who are on that, we're all on that precipice. So just understanding that, like, most, if it were easy to be rich, everyone would be, I'm pretty sure, right? So, um,
Yes.
it's just the idea that, like, we're all in this life together and we can celebrate that or we can just make it harder. And I just choose the better path. So,
Hmm. So, just a little opportunity for you to make that call for service. What kind of people do you want to see being in this line of work? Who would be, I mean, who might be thinking about this, and what would you have to say to them? Do it. Just jump.
just jump in. It's so rewarding. So, the thing that I learned coming from the agency and even here is volunteers just get so much more out of being a volunteer than they put into it. I felt that way. I know, my counterparts felt that way as a volunteer and then as staff members. You know, it's so rewarding to know that you're connecting someone, like some, like, just anecdotes of, like, we would give out pastries if the store would give us pastries, we would just give them out, right? So they could go and pick out a cake, and I can't tell you
Hmm.
the number of times I would just be walking around talking to individuals at the pantry level, and they would say, I'm so glad I came today. We'll be able to celebrate my 7-year-old's birthday this weekend with this beautiful cake I picked up. Or an elderly woman who would say, thank you so much. Now I can have cupcakes with my friends for my birthday. And so, like, it's just really sweet and heartwarming to think
Yeah.
about, how we approach those moments at the table with our friends and neighbors, right? Like, that's why Thanksgiving has such meaning, right? Because we're breaking bread together. We're celebrating, with gratitude the things that we have, and being able to give that experience to other people is so important and fundamental, really.
So, and a last question, and not getting political, because this is not a new thing. As you said, this has been going on, I mean, just at Central Pennsylvania Food Bank just since the 80s. We are literally the wealthiest nation on earth, but maybe the wealthiest nation in history. How is it that we need food banks? It's a sad question to have to ask.
Yeah, it's a really complicated one for sure. And, the integration of the national and state political level is something that we sorely need to be able to combat this issue. And so, we thread this needle of, like, this is not a political statement, it's just the reality of what we see. So,
Hmm.
in 2021, we got really close. We had the child tax credit, we had increased benefits for SNAP. There were stimulus checks being, sent out to
Right.
families, and we got really close to solving the fundamental issue of hunger. And with the retraction of some of those things, we just went back. And so, hunger increased. We've seen hunger increase 44% in our service territory over the last 2 years. So it's really hard to, how can we go back to a time where we make that a priority? But also, we have seen gigantic changes within the national landscape, and then, of course, with the state budget not passing for several months,
Mm.
what that means for us. So back in January, February timeframe, we learned that we would no longer receive LFP, which is the Local Food Purchase Act. Not to get into the weeds, there's a lot of weeds to this, but just basically every administration has the right to direct funds that were used in this program to whatever they would like to use them for, essentially within the charitable food network. And so those funds were no longer available to us. That was $170,000 a month that we lost this summer. And those were dollars that were given directly back to local small and mid-sized farmers. So literally food, fork to table kind of stuff for us, now gone. 1/6 of what we distributed in the past was from USDA. So commodities through USDA, and that's really great stuff like pork chops and nuts and beans and that kind of stuff. So 1/6 was the number we had been working with for the last several years. We're now at 1/12 of the food that we have in-house is USDA. So again, just gigantic numbers. And then when we see the changes, the SNAP pausing, for every one meal we deliver in the charitable food network, SNAP gives 9 meals. So we can't do this work without SNAP. So again, just these gigantic
that's huge. Yeah. I didn't realize. Okay.
Yeah, so these gigantic policies, and for Pennsylvania, that's SNAP is a $4 billion injection into our local economy. So for every $1 spent in SNAP, it generates $1.54 in economic value. So again, like local grocers are missing out on this money when there are pauses to SNAP. So anyway, it's just been it's been a really interesting year to be a food banker for sure. An interesting year to step into the role of CEO here. But I do it with such humility, and it's such an honor to be able to serve this way. When things get hard, I kind of just lean into the fact that like I'm in the arena, right? I can be here and make a difference. I don't have to be on the outside wondering what I can do to help or be helpful. So
I love that in the arena quote. That's a good one.
It's a good one. Yeah.
Shila, thank you. Thank you so much. That's all I have time for, unfortunately, but I think we covered what we needed to.
We did. Thank you so much. This was really great. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And I mean, thanks for being here, and thanks for everything you and your whole team does. We really appreciate it. Have a Merry Christmas.
You as well. Take care. Thanks, Lou.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
I'll have a donation link to the food bank in the show notes. But if you can't get there or you want to donate right now, the website is centralpafoodbank.org. Make a holiday gift to Central PA. We live here. It is, as my Jewish friends say, a mitzvah, a good deed done selflessly. I need a drink. But what I'm drinking today, number 2, is something odd, something I've never had before. It's Santa Claus Taller, a non-alcoholic Christmas beer. I have not tasted this before right now, so let's open it. Well, it looks like a beer. Klaustaller's been doing this for a while. It's a brand that is brewed by the Binding Brewery in Dortmund, Germany. And Klaustaller's been around for quite a while. Oh my, there's spices in it. Wow, that actually smells like a Christmas cookie. It's got some orange, maybe a little bit of clove. It's kind of making me think of Harpoon Winter Warmer. And it's got a nice color to it. It's a light, kind of goldenish, reddish amber. It has a parchment head. That is almost like good potpourri, the aroma. But we all know the real test of a non-alcoholic is what it's like in your mouth. Here goes. Well, that's a little on the sweet side, but I'm not sure I could tell you this was non-alcoholic. If it weren't for the label, I'd think this was just a lighter, maybe slightly fruitier, sweeter beer. If you're drinking a non-alcoholic beer for whatever reason, this is right in line with what Christmas beers, holiday beers are. It's something different, something special. That's a treat. That's really pretty decent. I hate to sound this way, but I'm shocked, to be honest. That's not a bad drink. And you know what? It's non-alcoholic, and it's actually relatively low in calories, 124. So I feel virtuous. I'm going to have a cookie.
Cathy just baked these cookies. That's a chocolate chip. She also baked peanut butter cookies, those ones with the fork cross-hatching on top, and her famous molasses cookies. They are famous, and we're going to tell you why. Because at last, your demands have been answered. Cathy Bryson returns to Seen Through a Glass with an interview about one of her favorite things, baking Christmas cookies. Hey, I'm at my house, and I'm talking to my wife, Cathy. How are you? How are you this morning?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm all right. Have been since we woke up.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you about Christmas cookies. I mean, you baked a batch this morning. One batch, two batches.
Two batches.
Two batches. Peanut butter cookies. Mm-hmm. So we have a family cookbook I put together about 10 years ago. It's well over 100 pages long. 24 recipes are cookies. And we were both surprised that that's all there were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We like cookies.
We like cookies. Christmas cookies are a long tradition in your family, especially the baking of them. I know you used to bake cookies with your mother. Did you also bake them with your grandmother?
Yes. When we were in grade school, my grandmother and my mom would spend the day baking sugar cookies. And when we got home from school, the four of us would decorate them.
Yeah, we might as well talk about that now. When decorating sugar cookies, I mean, that's an all-hands-on-deck thing with your family.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Tell us how that works.
So they would make up a whole bunch of different colored confectionery sugar icing, and we would...
And you had a bunch of different shapes, too. Did you say there were
shapes.
Tupperware cutters?
They were Tupperware cutters, and the recipe for sugar cookies that came with it, Grandma's sugar cookie recipe, was the one that we used because it was a great dough, easy to cut, baked well, just really easy to work with.
And there's bells and trees and stars and snowmen?
Snowmen and trains and, oh boy, yeah.
Yeah, there's about eight or nine different shapes.
At least, yeah. And different size stars and different size
right.
Christmas ornaments and all kinds of stuff like that, yeah.
And everybody would decorate.
Yep, we'd all sit around the kitchen table, and at the beginning we were really very picky, and we'd do faces and all kinds of. By the end, we were so tired of it, we were just making
yellow
everything,
ones. Right.
Yeah, everything one color, and drizzling some spots on it and letting it dry.
But I remember this from when our kids were very young. Even the little ones got to decorate.
Oh, absolutely.
Cookies.
Yeah. Once my grandmother passed and my mom became the grandmother, we would go to her house and decorate with all the cousins.
Yeah.
And then even when she wasn't able to bake, I would go up and my brother and I would do the baking, and then we'd corral anybody that was around to come over and decorate with us.
Yeah, and you'd make a lot.
Oh, 6-7 batches or something. Well, we split them up between all the
Yeah, I mean,
family,
I remember in last episode, Nikki saying cookie baking is of a necessity, a communal event. It's hard to make just 3 cookies.
It is.
Yeah, you got to make a batch. So it was a social thing.
Yeah. We'd sit around and talk and laugh and make jokes and just have fun.
Yeah, and I mean, you still do it today with our daughter Nora.
Yep.
Yeah, we can't talk about cookies without talking about your award-winning molasses cookies. Not an exaggeration. So tell us about the cookies and the prize you won with them.
So we lived in Western New York, out in a very small town called Perry Center, and our neighbor had this great recipe for molasses sugar cookies. And my mom got it. And when I was in 4-H, after we moved across the state to Dover Plains, New York, we joined 4-H, and I entered her cookies in a contest, molasses sugar cookies, in the Dutchess County Fair. And they won a blue ribbon, and they were recommended to go to the New York State Fair, where they won another blue ribbon.
How about that?
So Lois really helped me along there.
Oh, that's who the Sam and Lois.
Lois Sherman, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Sorry, I've listeners, I've heard about these people. I met them, I think. Did I?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Long
but
time
I mean,
ago.
I heard a lot of stories about these people. I didn't realize those were her cookies.
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
Yep.
Very family.
Yep.
And excellent cookies. Can you describe the cookie?
Yeah, they're crisp. Well, you can make them chewy if you want, if you put a piece of bread in with them. But they're usually they're pretty crisp,
Crunchy even.
crunchy, and they have a hint of salt in them. It really
I think that makes
the,
a big difference,
yeah,
that little bit of salt.
So you roll them, and you roll them in sugar. And then when you bake them, they've got like a little bit of sugar coating. And they're just molasses, some ginger, cloves, and cinnamon.
Okay. I wondered about the spices, what they were. Okay, cool. Nice. Yeah, the award-winning cookies.
The award-winning cookies.
Favorites everywhere you go. So you have I don't know, I don't want to say a repertoire, but there's a regular set of Christmas cookies that you bake every year. Sometimes you rotate them in and out. Tell us about that family repertoire.
So
we already talked about the sugar cookies.
Yeah, we do sugar cookies. I do molasses cookies. This year I did some peanut butter cookies, which we don't usually do.
Yeah, we had a little discussion about the cross-hatching and found out they're not really sure why you do that.
Yeah.
But everybody does.
Everybody does, so everyone knows what a peanut butter cookie looks like.
Yeah.
We do something called raspberry stripers.
Yeah, tell me about those. Those are a bar cookie?
Yeah, it's a cooking light recipe that that I found that was really good. So you make a dough and you put any kind of jelly you want in it. So it's like a huge jelly belly basically, and then you cut it up into.
People don't know what a jelly belly is. We'll have to explain that too.
Oh my gosh! So it's usually like a sugar cookie. And you put your thumb in it, make a little indentation, and then put some jelly in there.
Oh, and then bake it.
Yeah.
With the
jelly in it.
With the jelly in it, okay.
Yeah, so these stripers are basically a long loaf, kind of, with a big indentation. You put the jelly in, bake them, and then you drizzle confectionery sugar icing on it, and then cut them up into chunks. Yeah.
Okay.
And they're
like you said, you
favorite.
can put any jelly you want in there.
And another recipe we do is the date nut pinwheels, which my grandmother Childs
really wanted to talk about those because I remember when I first, before we were married and then early in our, I didn't really care for those, and now they're the ones I go, I don't know, is it just maybe a more mature taste or?
I think so, because when we were kids, we always avoided them.
Really?
Like the adults loved them.
Yeah, they're not as sweet.
They're not that
sweet. And yet the dates are
sweet.
Really, it's strange.
Yeah. So basically,
describe them.
It's dough. You roll out dough and you make this date nut filling.
You chop dates.
Yeah, with pecans in them and brown sugar. I'm trying to remember what else is in there, but it makes this syrupy date nut filling, and you spread it all over. You roll it up like a jelly roll.
So you've got like a big rectangle roughly, and then you spread that stuff on it and roll it.
Roll it like a jelly roll. Then you slice it and bake the cookies. So they look like pinwheels.
So you slice one and lay it flat.
Yeah.
And then it spreads a bit.
Yep.
Boy, it's good.
Yeah, they really are.
I know. I just like them so much now that I'm grown up.
I know.
Really
Same here.
grown up. What else is it? There's the we were just talking about them. The peanut butter blossoms.
Yep. My sister-in-law Katie does those usually. They're her specialty. So it's a peanut butter cookie. That when you take them out of the oven when they're soft and
you don't do the cross hatching on them.
No.
Yeah.
No. And then you stick the Hershey's Kiss in the middle. And
just shove it down in there and
it hardens
around it and holds it. Okay. What were the oatmeal scotchies? That was a new one on me. Or is that not usually a Christmas cookie?
That's not usually a Christmas cookie.
Okay.
That's a regular cookie.
Icebox cookies?
That was my grandma Child's recipe as well, and she always had a bunch in her cookie jar. So when we went out to visit her in Western New York, my dad always made a beeline for the cookie jar when he got there. They're brown sugar, vanilla. I think they're pretty simple cookies.
Yeah.
And you slice them. They're like kind of a square. You put them in a loaf pan.
Oh, so kind of like the date nut pinwheels? Slice and put down?
But they come out square, not round.
And they're called icebox. Do you actually chill them before you cut them?
Yeah. You put the dough in the
icebox.
What used to be the icebox. That's how old the recipe is.
Yeah, right.
It's icebox.
Well, so that was one of the things I found out when I was looking into cookies for this episode. Some of these recipes are really, really old. We're going to talk about one of those. A lot of them come from the 30s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like Good Housekeeping and sometimes Depression-era stuff, so they were very simple cookies. Rocks are the really simple cookie that was just kind of special. I mean, it's essentially pantry stuff with raisins and chopped nuts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
we
so-
never didn't make those.
That was one my family made. Another one, Russian tea
Russian
cakes.
tea cakes. My mom always made those.
And what's the story on those?
It's kind of like a shortbread cookie dough. So it's got that. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's kind of delicate. And you make
A
balls
little
and
bit
you
crumbly.
crumbly, yeah, well, high butter content
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
So like a shortbread, and you roll it in powdered sugar when they come out of the oven. And usually there's some chopped pecans in them.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
and yeah, they're delicious too.
I think that's it. Oh, I wanted to ask about now you said this isn't actually a Christmas cookie, but I wanted to talk about it because it has such an interesting name, the Joe Frogger.
Oh yeah, yeah. My mom started making those after we were adults. I think she came across a recipe.
I swear, I still remember the first time I heard your mother say it, and I'm like, a what?
A Joe Frogger, yeah. We're like, what? I think she was bringing them to Myrtle Beach.
Oh,
for
when we were going
go
down there for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And what's it taste like?
It's sort of gingerbreadish, but not really.
It kind of reminds me of the icebox cookie, but with more spice, maybe? Actually, it has a different consistency,
yeah,
too.
completely different.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm not crazy about them.
Oh,
and
okay.
they were huge too.
Yeah, they were really big.
They were like the size of a bottom of a pie plate almost. I think.
Well, that's what they said. So I looked into this,
Okay.
and the Joe Frogger actually comes from Massachusetts in the late 1700s. There was a black freedman whose name was Joe, who managed to pull together enough money to buy a small inn, a tavern. And these were cookies that his wife made. And they're not sure where the Frogger part comes from, but they were described as the size of pancakes.
Okay.
So they were always big cookies.
Okay.
Yeah, and apparently they kept fairly well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we had them forever.
Yeah, I just thought that was a wild name, but and a neat story. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Definitely.
So I know I complicated things when I joined the family because I have a walnut allergy. Mm-hmm. But your mother immediately adapted to that and really never looked back. None of the kids really like raisins. Am I wrong about that? Or
Yeah, I don't
do any
think
of
they
them
do.
like raisins?
I'm not sure. I know Nora doesn't. I don't
Yeah,
know about
and
Tom.
well, Thomas doesn't either. So oatmeal raisins were out the way.
Yeah.
How much can these recipes be adapted to individual preferences, or at what point do they become a different cookie?
Oh, good question. I mean, as long as you keep the dough the same, I think you can add whatever you want to them. Like I was actually thinking about the peanut butter cookies this morning I was making. You could put mini chocolate chips in there.
I think some people do, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's really about what you add.
And some people use chunky peanut butter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think you've done that once or
Yeah,
twice.
yeah. It depends on what peanut butter I have.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
No. And we have added some cookies to the traditional ones. I'm thinking of the orange sesame biscotti.
Oh yeah. Those were good. Because I used to make cookies for people at work, like for Christmas, so just a variety of things. So I tried to get different, shapes, textures, types of cookies, and I saw the orange sesame biscotti. I thought that sounds good, a little refreshing.
Definitely a different texture.
Yeah, and not too sweet, just something different from a lot of the other cookies that I was making. And turned out my mom loved them, so I always made her a couple batches. So she put them in the freezer and have them all year round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We freeze a lot of cookies. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you have to make them ahead of time, so you put them in the freezer, and then you've got them ready for whenever
break 'em
somebody
out.
comes by.
One of the other ones we started making was a chocolate chip coffee cookie.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
we wanted something a little fancier than a regular chocolate chip.
Yeah, I think I actually just did a Google search on that and we
think
came
so.
up with a recipe. Yeah,
And it was made with Kahlua, and it's just got just a really nice, fancier taste, I guess.
It does, but it's not. I mean, people are like, "Oh, that'll keep me up." No,
It's only a couple tablespoons of
Yeah,
Kahlua, and it
you
makes
know.
a ton of cookies. So
yeah, but the flavor is definitely there.
flavor's good. Yeah.
So, what was it about those two that made them regulars? They were just good enough, or they were easy enough, or
they were just delicious. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, the biscotti's not super easy to make because you bake it twice.
yeah.
But it makes a lot of biscotti. and they're good. And then, like I said, the coffee chocolate chip recipe makes a lot of cookies, so it's kind of a good backbone if you're putting out a platter of different kinds of cookies.
Oh yeah, which you do. I mean, you've got a couple of different cookie serving.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking of the
tiered
things. Got 3 trays going up on a column. That's nice.
My grandmother's.
Yeah.
She always had good cookies on there.
Yeah, and you put some candies on there too. You do some. I don't want to call them candy, but
the almond brittle.
Yeah.
Yep. I was doing that for a while because again, it was different textures, different types of things for people that I worked with.
And how hard is that doing a brittle?
It's not hard at all, but waiting for the temperature to get to the temperature is key. Because the first time I made it, I didn't wait long enough, and it was very cloudy.
So you're talking you've got a thermometer in a pan on the stove.
Yeah, and you're brushing down the sides of the hot candy.
And
liquid.
what is it, like essentially butter and sugar?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess butter is in there. Yeah, it's been a while since I made them.
Yeah.
But you have to get it to, I think, 220 or something like that. And if you don't, it won't be clear. So I finally said, okay, I'm going to just wait and wait and wait. And then once I did it, then okay, that's what I'm supposed to be doing.
There you go. There are also special Christmas cookies we buy. I'm thinking of the Stauffer's Chocolate Stars, maybe those the Royal Dansk butter cookies that everybody really buys for tin.
Right.
Walker shortbread.
Oh, yeah. What about the Trader Joe's jelly stars?
Oh, yeah.
We got those last year, and they were awesome.
But there's something about a homemade cookie that's different. What is it?
Well, they're not regular shape.
That's true.
They've got some character to them, I think. I'm not sure. Just fresher.
Fresher? Maybe you know what went in it?
Yep. Well, as the baker, yeah.
Yeah. And of course, you intimately know who made it.
Right. But no, I think they're a little bit different shapes. They're not all the same size. They don't look like they have cookie cutters, like a cookie cutter shape, right?
Yes. Yeah. Especially
the
ones that spread. They just
kind
of happen.
Yeah. And then, of course, the decorated ones are
very
they're a lot of fun because people just use your imagination and a little bit of art until you're tired of doing it.
Yeah, and then you just start blotching.
Yeah.
Finally, I have a favor to ask. I'd like to post some of these recipes on the website. Is that okay, or are these deep, dark family secrets?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of them we got from other people, so I'm going to pass them on.
Okay, I will do that. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, too.
Wasn't that nice? Now, as I said, I'm going to post cookie recipes on the Seen Through a Glass website, but we do have that Christmas party this weekend, and I'm singing a Christmas concert on Sunday, so the recipes may not go up until next week. I'm going to try and get them up, but no promises. That party takes a lot of prep work. Meanwhile, back to work here. It's time to open another drink. What I'm drinking today, number 3, is another old friend of a beer, but not one I've had before on the show. It is another Belgian, the DuPont Avec le Bon Vin. I used to drink a lot more Belgian beer. I should get back to that. Anyway, my friend and What's Brewing co-host Glenn Macnow gave this to me in our last on-air beer swap of special beers for popping on New Year's Eve instead of champagne. I'm a big fan of the dry and spicy DuPont Saison, a beer I've often named as my desert island beer, and this is their Christmas/holiday beer. Avec les bons vœux means with our good wishes. Such a nice sentiment. Let's have at it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's the real cork pop. I didn't use the sound effect this time. So I'm pouring it right now, and it is effer-freaking-vescent. Wow. Look at those bubbles. Gorgeous moosey head. This is pouring so nice. Oh, and I can smell it. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right. Nice old-timey label. Oh, wow. There is nothing that smells like a Saison DuPont. How to describe that? Well, spicy doesn't really do it. There's a German word, würzig, that usually puts me more in the mind of it. It is because I first heard the word würzig in connection with beer spiciness Hefeweizen, and I just think of Würzig whenever I smell a spicy beer, because this is coming from the yeast. There are no spices that go in here. It's, wow, a little bit of funk, a little bit of white pepper. Gosh, almost maybe sage. Yeah, and some like bitter orange peel maybe. Oh, mostly what it smells is fresh. Like this beer, which I have no idea how old it is. It smells just bottled. Let me try some of this. Oh my. Now, a lot of times we think of holiday beers and we think of something thick and rich, and this is dry and fizzy and bracing and wow, more. Oh, I might just drink this whole bottle right in front of you. Oh, 9.5% ABV? Maybe I won't, since we have the rest of the show to do. This is a kind of hazy golden amber. Wow. I'll tell you what, at 9.5%, it just wants to be in your mouth and drunk. Boy, that's good. And the foam just will not die. It's a beautifully lumpy carpet of white that's still half an inch thick. Boy, that's good. Boy, that's good. I missed this beer. I am not going to miss it next year. Go out and get yourself some of this and, stave off the longing in between with some more Saison DuPont. I have got to do more Belgians in 2026. That is my pledge to you. Now, I wanted to tell you about our Christmas caroling party. Maybe it'll inspire you, because I recently read about a friend's family chili making party. I'm sure thinking about doing one of those. Just let your party muse inspire you. We started our caroling party about 20 years ago when we still lived in Bucks County. It was inspired by the memory of a grand party my high school choir director would take 3 or 4 of us to. I got to go twice. A musician he knew in the Philadelphia suburbs lived in an old coach house, and he had a Christmas music party. He had a grand piano in the house. He had a Celeste, and he had a freaking pipe organ in his house. He'd play the keyboards and he'd hire a string group. It was a quartet one year. The next year, it was about 20 players, and he'd invite singers. They'd clear all the furniture out of the main room and set up folding chairs. We'd arrange ourselves in vocal parts. I remember I was a tenor one year, and the next year I was a bass. Teenage years. Anyway, for about an hour, we would sing from the Oxford Book of Carols, the beloved Green Book, full of older carols like The Boar's Head and Torches, and Shepherds Shake Off Your Drowsy Sleep. It was some serious sight reading for a teenager from farm country. And then we'd break for dinner, a groaning board in his cleared-out garage with a roast turkey, a huge roast ham, and side dishes all around. After dinner, and I suspect after most of the adults had tuned up with some of the champagne that was there, we'd go back, and we'd sing through the Christmas section of Handel's Messiah, finishing up the night with the Hallelujah Chorus. It was a grand event, and 50 years later, I still remember it with wonder. And eventually, as I got older and had my own house and my wife and my family, I thought, why don't we do that at our house? Now, of course, we didn't have a pipe organ in Langhorne, but I had a pitch pipe and a strong voice. We didn't have a lot of musician friends, but we had some, and the rest of our friends knew the familiar carols. And I sure hell knew how to roast a ham. So we sent out invites. Come sing with us. Bring your voices on a side dish, a Christmas potluck. It was so long ago we actually included directions and phone numbers, and we sent them out in the mail, like with stamps. The party was great. I did roast a big ham, and people brought sides and desserts. We had beer and wine, sodas and cider. We crowded about 40 people into our little suburban starter home. We all had some snacks and drinks, and I handed out the song sheets. And these were 2 sheets, front and back, with just the words to 20 familiar Christmas songs. We grabbed flashlights and headed out into the neighborhood. We'd look for houses with lights on, send one of the young ones up to ring the bell, and just start singing. I had the pitch pipe and starting pitches on a cheat sheet, so we were all roughly on the same note. Some people never came out. A few times we were actually invited in the house, and one year this guy came running down the street and asked us, please come over to our house and sing. And that was fun. And then we'd troop back to the house, and I'd slice up the ham, and people would have dinner, and we'd talk and laugh, maybe sing a little more. Things would wind down around 11, and everyone would leave, and the family would go to bed, and, well, then I had my own little tradition. I had gotten a bottle of Blanc de Noir for the party, a sparkling wine I had been told was good with ham, and no one opened it. And, people have never opened the bottle of Blanc de Noir because I kept getting one for 20 years. Anyway, after the party, I make a big ham sandwich, I pop the bottle of Blanc de Noir, and I watch Blade Runner, the theatrical cut. It's a Christmas movie. Fight me. The party went on hiatus for about 5 years during our move in the pandemic, but we all missed it, and last year we did the party for the first time in Millheim. We only invited about 20 people. We wanted to see how it worked out. We didn't go caroling door to door. It's a steep hill, and the road is kind of busy. Instead, we all went out on the wraparound porch and sang like a big old choir. We sang Jingle Bells, Go Tell It on the Mountain, and Away in the Manger. We sang Rudolph and Joy to the World and The First Noel. And then we roared out, we wish you a Merry Christmas, figgy pudding and all. And we went back inside to get some of that ham. I didn't watch Blade Runner, couldn't find the DVD, but it was a successful trial run. And this Saturday, we're going to do it again, full out, inviting all our friends, a real valley party. And we'll go out on the porch and sing, and we'll talk and laugh and sing some more. And yeah, I got a bottle of Blanc de Noir, and I found Blade Runner, and we're going to put it up on the big screen at 11:30 and eat ham sandwiches. Holiday traditions are the best. We always have a big Italian feast on Christmas Eve, and for some reason, we always grill up a bunch of German sausages and onions after midnight at New Year's. We used to drink raspberry imperial stout on Thanksgiving morning. You might have to reinstate that one. And speaking of drinks, it's time for that last What I'm Drinking Today, which is a very simple cocktail we served at the fundraiser I did for the Penns Valley Conservation Association just last Sunday. Bourbon, apple cider, a little bit of lemon juice. But I don't know what to call it. Whiskey and hard apple cider is a stone fence. It's been called that since colonial days. But whiskey and sweet cider? You may see it called a bourbon smash, but that's bourbon and simple syrup, though I suppose cider could sub in. I was thinking about calling it a picket fence, and I don't think anyone else would get it. I'm going to keep thinking, and meanwhile, here's what it tastes like. Local cider, 5 ounces, half an ounce of lemon juice, and an ounce of beam bonded bourbon. Okay. So, you have to be careful not to put too much bourbon in this. And I think I may have, because I can smell the apple. I can smell just a hint of the lemon kind of breaking things up at the edge and keeping it crisp. But there's a healthy heap of bourbon there. Wow, but does that ever work? Cider is sweet and bourbon is sweet, but the lemon juice cuts that. And to be honest, the spiciness in this Beam bourbon, I've always thought Beam has a kind of like a red hot cinnamon candy edge to it, and that is coming through. It is keeping things from being too damn sweet. This is a great drink. We are probably going to mix up a batch of this and heat it for the caroling party, and that's going to be nice to come back into after caroling out on the porch. Oh, I'll tell you what. Even cold right out of the fridge, that is warming. really gets to the old cockles. You know what I mean? Oh boy, yeah, man, that's good. All right, some other stuff I've been up to. Once again, I'm taping 2 more episodes of What's Brewing PA next week. We're going to be at the Giant Market in Jenkintown, Pennsylvania, talking to their beer and wine manager about their beer program and their beer and food pairings. We're also going to do another snack face-off. We did one last year with pretzels. This one, well, it's still crunchy, but it's a lot lighter. It's a lot more controversial. And it's a lot more fun. And that's all I'm going to say. You should check out What's Brewing PA on YouTube. I'm going to say that I'll be putting links up to episodes of the show on the wonderful and awesome new Seen Through a Glass website next week. That's commitment. Feel free to hold me to it. Also on the website, don't forget there's still a growing list of suggestions for small business shopping in the podcast show notes section. As you whittle down your Christmas list and still need a few things, a few special thoughtful items to fill in the cracks, these are the perfect places to find what you will not find online or at the big box stores, and maybe have a friendly cup of coffee or a cookie too. Shop small, shop local. Oh, hey, authors are small businesses too, and I'm definitely Central Pennsylvania local. The fundraiser I hosted for the Penns Valley Conservation Association was a big success. We were at the Brush Mountain Lodge here in Penns Valley and enjoyed the gorgeous view from above a snowy landscape. We had delicious hors d'oeuvres made by Elaine Wilgus at Webster's Bookstore Cafe in State College. Wow, 2 mentions in one show. Way to go, Webster's. And 3 Pennsylvania rye whiskeys donated, and thanks very much, by our friends at Dad's Hat, Liberty Pole, and Stolen Wolf. We're already talking about a summertime beer barbecue. If you want to get some of these fine books for Christmas gifts for you and 5 or 6 of your friends, might as well push it at this point. You still have 2 excellent options. I will be doing one more public event on Friday, December 19th, right here in the smack dab heart of downtown Millheim at Elk Creek Cafe. I'll be there from 4 p.m. to at least 6 p.m., and you can just drop on in. There'll be some good beers on tap like always, including a barley wine. And I'll be there to enjoy them with you. We'll keep it light and easy. And if you don't live close enough, or if the weather turns nasty, don't you worry, my good friends. There is still plenty of time to get yourself and your whiskey-loving friends and relations a signed, personalized copy of American Whiskey Masterclass for the holidays. Thanks to that new SeenThroughAGlass.com website, it is easier than ever to get your copies. And pick up a Seen Through a Glass sticker while you're there and slap it where it will get some attention. Delivery's running about 5 days from order right now, so you still have time to beat the holiday, but don't wait too long. That's the show. My thanks to Shila Ulrich for taking time out of her very important work to give us that interview. Please consider a donation to the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank. I'll have a link in the show notes. And of course, thanks to my dear wife and partner, Cathy Bryson, for talking about cookies and letting me sample. As always, you can find pictures for this episode on Instagram at Stag Podcast and on Facebook at Seen Through a Glass. And if you're listening to the show on the radio at WSOV, there are over 60 more episodes to enjoy at Spotify or Apple Podcasts, Podbean, or any of the major podcast apps, and soon at the Seen Through a Glass website. Now, we talked about the origin of the Joe Frogger cookie, which is a real story, but there are several stories about the origin of Snickerdoodle. The crusty, soft inside cinnamon cookie. Are any of them correct? The Joy of Cooking says it comes from the German Schneckennoodle, literally snail noodle, but they're straight-up cinnamon rolls. And a Snickerdoodle isn't a roll or a yeasted cookie, so it's also been suggested that it comes from the Dutch Schneckrot, which means wrinkle or crinkle, which, okay, the top of a Snickerdoodle is, but it seems a long way from Schneckrot to Snickerdoodle. I like the simple idea that it's just more American wordplay. Same kind that gave us words like cattywampus, hornswoggle, kitty corner, skedaddle, and Yankee Doodle, the guy who stuck a feather in his cap and called it macaroni. I mean, say it. Snickerdoodle. Doesn't have to mean anything. It's just fun. That's my choice. Cathy's not a big fan of Snickerdoodles, but she brought me some from Trader Joe's. They're good, but Cathy's are better. So next episode, that's the day after Christmas, and I've been kind of promising something relaxed, a Boxing Day episode that's maybe just one what I'm drinking today after another, even more than this one. And maybe we'll head back the dirt road to Dave's, drinking whiskey and eggnog and talking about the trip to Ireland Dave and Cathy took last month. We're also thinking about a seriously rural pub crawl. I'm not sure what we're going to do yet, but it's going to be relaxed, just like you'll be, I hope. Until then, Thanks for listening, and happy holidays to us all, especially the people at the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank. This is Lou Bryson on Seen Through a Glass, raising a glass to you and your family and to all good folks from the snowy, quiet, and peaceful smack dab center of the Keystone State.